Thomson Hospital, Kota Damansara. I am Nina, and this is the Thomson Healthcast, the show with straight talk about health and wellness from THKD experts. I am excited about this episode because it focuses on a topic that we Malaysians love, which is food. I mean, who doesn't, right? However, we are discussing on a equally common subject, which is picky eaters, especially when it comes to kids. Now, as a parent or a caregiver, it can be challenging to ensure that your child is receiving the necessary nutrients for growth and development. So, in this episode, we invited our clinical dietitian, Shin Jie, to share some practical advice to help encourage your child to try new food as well as expand their palate. Hi Shin, welcome to the Thomson Healthcast.
Hi Mina, thanks for having me here.
Alright, so I'm curious, as a kid, were you a picky eater?
I don't think I recall as a picky eater, but maybe I am. I'm not sure. I couldn't recall that.
Yeah, I think I wasn't so much of a picky eater, but fittingly, this episode is called Nutrition Tips for Picky Eating Kids. Shin, shall we help some parents out?
Sure.
All right, first we have to define what is picky eating.
Okay, so there's no single widely accepted definition to define what picky eating actually is. But when we refer kids as a picky eater, we often see a pattern, such as they will start to refuse their familiar food, or they will eat the same type of food every single day, or they are not willing to try new food. So this behavior is a part of feeding difficulty, which generally considered as a normal behavior apparently in young children that usually resolve by school age. So I would say it's not a concern. I mean, to be fair, we adults, we can be very choosy and picky with our food or eating the same food every single day.
Yes, that's
Okay?
right.
Yeah, right? But it would be a concern to kids when it starts affecting their growth.
All right, so in your professional view, what are the consequences of picky eating in children? Or is there a health risk that is related to being fussy when it comes to your meal preferences?
Okay, so as mentioned previously, the main consequences will definitely be their growth. As we know, young children, they are at a very actively growing stage.
Yeah.
So to ensure optimum growth, they require a lot of nutrients. And how do we get all those nutrients? Is through adequate oral intake. So when these young children, they have all these behaviors, being picky eating and things like that, they have a total reduction in overall food intake, or like they are just having one food item every single day. So this actually put them at risk of getting insufficient nutrients. So this will affect their growth. And of course, it's not just affecting their growth. Their immunity will be affected too. So, which means they were having low immunity. And by having low immunity means the kids will fall sick easily. And as a parents, we know that when kids fall sick, it's even harder to feed them. They will refuse almost everything. Okay, except maybe depending on the kids what they like normally. Okay, so when they have this refusal of food, we know it leads to inadequate oral intake, and then it leads to nutrient deficiency, and then the same thing, low immunity. So it's like a cycle.
All right, so what you explain is more towards a health point of view. But it's very interesting because I've also read that picky eating can affect a child's social as well as emotional development. They may feel excluded or different from their peers and also struggle in social situations, perhaps like at a birthday party or like a barbecue party. And this can also lead to anxiety, and one may feel or end up having low self-esteem.
Okay.
Do you agree with that?
I would say it depends. If it's young children, they have the most carefree kind of thinking. They don't care. They don't care what other people think. But maybe when they move on to like adolescent stage, when they start having their own individual thinking, point of view, they will be like, why am I so different?
Yes, that's
Then
right.
they will be keep hiding and things like that. Yeah, I think when they move on to a later stage, when this doesn't resolve, then it might affect it.
Yeah, so it's good to think that it also can affect your, social and emotional
Mm.
development, not necessarily your health, right? All right, so do dietitians like yourself know why some kids are pickier than others about food?
To be honest, no.
Okay.
There's no particular reason on why some kids are pickier, some kids are not. Okay, but of course there are few factors but are not limited to that contributes to this behavior. So when it comes to feeding, it involves three components. The first is the parents or the feeder. Okay, second, of course, the child, him or herself. And last but not least, the food. Okay, so this factor will be depending on like what is the parent's feeding style, or whether the child is under pressure to eat, or the environment, and of course like the food, what affecting like is it the presentation, the texture, the color. So all this actually does contribute to these behaviors.
Yes. And I think children develop picky eating habits by modeling their parents' fussy eating habits, right? I think that would be the most common cause.
I'm not very sure whether it's a common cause or not, but it can be a contributor to it.
All right. Now, let's talk about what parents can do to make sure that their kids get a diverse intake of food and adequate nutrition. So, to start, could you explain what's the easiest way to get a kid to try other food? They don't necessarily have to immediately take it, but how can parents actually ease them in and maybe make them take the first bite?
Okay. So nowadays we know kids tend to follow what others do, like what you mentioned, like the parents are role model. So they will follow their parents almost 24/7. They are with their parents. So what the parents do will be what the kids do, because they will observe, then whatever they do, then they will follow. So the kids are like their role model. So how can we do it? Like how can we incorporate this trait into the behavior and things like that? It's like you can start with involving them in the whole process, from like choosing, picking the food, expose them to all different kind of food or vegetables or fruits, the color, the texture, then to preparing them, to serving them. Okay, this does not only create a good relationship between you and your child, but of course the child and the food. And in turn, it might stimulate their interest in all this food. But bear in mind, this doesn't mean they'll give it in first try. Okay, yeah, studies shown that it takes maybe about 10 to 15 times before the kids would try a new food.
Yeah.
Okay, now this brings me to my last but not least advice, I would say, is be patient.
Yes, yes.
It's gonna take days, months, and even up to years before the kid starts to try the food. So patience, it's a big thing here.
Yeah. Okay, so I just have a question in mind. Maybe you can explain a little bit about a balanced diet, because we're talking about picky eating, but perhaps you can also share with us how a balanced diet would look like for a kid.
How a balanced diet would look like for a kid? Okay, so it's actually similar to a setup, like in our plate, but it's just the portion size may be slightly lesser, and make sure like it's very colorful. So this is like, people always say eat a rainbow.
Yes.
All right, so get a variety of color, just not just one monotone single same color. Get a variety of color, different type of food group. This is how you can ensure.
Right.
Okay.
And when you say rainbow, you don't mean gummy bears, right?
No, of course. All
So
these
these
are
are
high.
vegetables.
Yes, correct. Fruits or things like that.
All right, yeah. So I believe it's important to be patient and persistent when introducing healthy foods. So parents, don't give up. It can take several tries or attempt. All right. So for kids who really have a tough time taking food like veggies and fruits, do you have any recommendation for parents that they can include in their daily preparations, or how they can actually prepare the meals?
Okay. But before that, we need to understand why is always people keep emphasizing on we have to take fruits and vegetables. Okay, it's actually because it's a very good source of fiber. Okay, so it actually helps to prevent constipation, which is a common condition in young children.
Yep.
right? It's so hard to poo-poo, you know, you have to chase over them to poo-poo. Okay, and of course, it's a good source of micronutrients, which helps to strengthen their immunity. Okay, and to be honest, there's no shortcut on how to introduce. Like us adults, there are some of us, I think many of us out there, having difficulty in taking in those fruits and vegetables. So as mentioned previously, just experiment with your kids, explore. There's a lot of fruits, vegetables out there, like different texture, different colors, different taste. Some are sour, some are sweeter. Just explore with them.
Yeah, and I think it's also important, I think for the younger kids, to keep it fun. Maybe they can come up with a creative way to introduce,
correct. Yes.
these vegetables,
Yes,
or
correct.
hide them in the food.
It's one of the way you can do it.
Yeah, just blend it all in, right? And make something yummy. And I think I also do agree, like getting them to assist you during like grocery shopping or at the kitchen. What you're doing is that you can help them feel like a valued part of the cooking process.
Correct.
Right?
And also like it's a part of education for them also. Learning new fruits, colors. Yeah, it's like all in one package.
All right. So coming to our final question,
Okay.
who else could actually play a role in managing picky eaters other than dietitians?
Definitely the pediatrician. They will be the first one you should be going to actually. Because they will be identifying what actually the cause of being picky eater. Is it really because the kids, they start to refuse it? Or is it because they have some sick, they are ill, they are sick, that they start to refuse the food? Okay, or is because they have some swallowing difficulty or some development issue that causing them to refusing all this. So this pediatrician, they will refer to a more specialist to help them. For example, if the kid's having swallowing issue, so speech therapist could help, like how can we assist in that? So, and then in the nutrient wise, of course, it's a dietitian. So it's like a holistic, multidisciplinary approach, not just one individual. So everyone like work together to identify the root cause, then we can go about.
Yeah, I actually never thought about it that way. That are you trying to say that maybe kids with autism can also develop this sort of
definitely.
habits?
Yeah, because autism kids, they can be very sensitive. If they like the certain type of texture, they only want that. And some autism kids, they can be very fussy. They don't like their food to touch each other.
Yes, I've read about that.
Yes, so it's very important to explore with them because you don't know what they like. And sometimes they are not like us adults. They can just verbally tell you, I like this, I don't like it. They are still exploring themselves too. So it can be frustrating to them too, like you keep forcing them to eat. So explore with them. That's the only, I won't say the only, but it's one of the ways that we can go about it.
I think bottom line is parents do not be afraid to seek advice from healthcare professionals. If you are concerned about your child's nutrition and eating habits, I think a dietitian like yourself, Shin, and also our pediatric doctors can offer guidance and support to ensure that your child is meeting their nutritional needs. All right, thank you so much, Shin. Parents, we hope by incorporating our tips into your daily routine, you can help your picky eating child develop a more healthier relationship with their food. We are also eager to announce from the 6th of March to the 22nd of March, Thomson Hospital Kota Damansara will be organizing our Nutrition Month, and it is themed Fuel for the Future.
Right.
Yes, so do drop by our hospital as we have some exciting games for you to play, some exciting prizes, and also we have a booth exhibition. All right, thank you for tuning in. This has been the Thomson Healthcast, and we will be back with another PHKD expert. So see you at our event.